Well, if the President of the United States isn't going to get tough with Saudi Arabia, the United States Senate will. I'm talking Republicans and Democrats, and I'm talking some strange bedfellows in the process, including Kentucky Republican Senator Rand Paul and South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham, both often at odds when it comes to a host of foreign policy issues, but not when it calls to taking into question exactly how far the Saudis should get a pass from the United States of America. Senator Paul joins me now. Senator, good to have you.
Thank you.
It looks like you're both on the same page when it comes to some retribution on the Saudis. Lindsey Graham saying it's akin to what the Bible calls the end times. Is it?
Well, you know, I think it's a testimony as to how extraordinary this is, that someone went into a consulate, was actually urged into a consulate of a country, and then killed by that country. You know, people say, oh, these dictators kill people around the world all the time. Well, yeah, but it's still a little bit uncommon. In fact, I would say extraordinary to invite him into the Istanbul consulate, to actually encourage him that he would be safe there, and then to kill and dismember him. So I think it's an extraordinary thing, and it has brought people from across the spectrum, Republicans that don't often agree, but also Democrats. We're all together in saying, you know what, if we turn a blind eye to this, you'll get more of it.
Why don't you think the president agrees?
You know, I think he has a different viewpoint of the Saudis, and I guess when I compare the Saudis to the Iranians, I actually have trouble determining which one is more evil. In fact, I think as far as spreading radical Islam and spreading ideas of violent jihad against civilians, I think the Saudis are actually much more of a worldwide menace, because they have funded maybe 50,000 religious madrasas to teach hatred of Christians, Hindus and Jews. And so I think the Saudis are a menace worldwide. But what they've done in Yemen is unconscionable, and then killing and dismembering a dissident is just beyond the pale.
So what do we do, Senator? I mean, you come up with a variety of options. The president is not open to considering any for the time being, but what do you think we should do?
I think at the very least we should not reward them for their behavior. So a reward in my mind is selling them arms. I think that our military arms are a unique industry. I don't think they're like the shoe industry or the soccer ball industry. I think selling arms is distinctly something that is owned by the American people, that is part of our national security. So we don't sell arms to China. We don't sell arms to Russia. It's not about jobs. And so if Saudi Arabia is not a full-throated and fully supportive ally, they shouldn't get our arms. What they are doing in Yemen is unconscionable. It's a humanitarian disaster. Secretary Pompeo told him about a month ago, quit bombing civilian centers. Since that time, the Saudis have dropped several hundred bombs on civilian centers in Hodeidah. So they need a stronger message. And right now, the Crown Prince thinks he can do whatever he wants. And I think that's very worrisome. There are about 3,000 people held in Saudi Arabia without trial right now. I fear that if we turn a blind eye, many of them will die.
You know, the president has argued that because of all these defense deals and related contracts, you know, I don't know what an accurate figure is, Senator, but let's say tens of billions of dollars, that goes elsewhere. That goes to China. That goes to Russia, you say?
Well, all of the airplanes they fly in the Air Force, Saudi Arabian Air Force is entirely American planes. If they want to put Chinese parts on their planes, good luck. So they depend on us much more than we depend on them. We are a world superpower. They are a country that has a defense budget about 1/114th of ours. They depend entirely on us for parts, so we should tell them no more parts until you shape up. Their Air Force would be no longer flying in 3 or 4 months. We fix their planes, we give them the parts for the planes, we train their pilots. They are entirely dependent on us, and they need to act like an ally, or they shouldn't get weapons from us.
Let me switch gears on the president's choice to be the next Attorney General, William Barr. You have serious issues with him. Are they such that you would not support him?
I think we're going to have to find out more. My team is now researching his past statements, researching his actions, what he's participated in. But, you know, libertarian conservatives like myself have been very concerned for a long time that the Patriot Act allowed the government too much power to spy on Americans. I'm fine with spying on terrorists, but I'm not so happy about how much spying we do on Americans. And his statements in the past have been that the Patriot Act was okay but didn't go far enough, that he wanted to allow the government more power to do surveillance. And actually, I want more constitutional checks to protect Americans. And so this sounds like something something that we could have a significant disagreement on, but we're going to give it time. We're going to research his record. We'll be willing to meet with him. But my first impression is that I'm concerned.
The president, meanwhile, seems to be having a devil of a time finding a new chief of staff, assuming that he is letting John Kelly go at the end of the year, a couple of weeks from now. And a number of names that were mentioned, Senator, have since sort of taken themselves out of the running voluntarily. Mark Meadows, the new Freedom Caucus, House Freedom Caucus leader, is among those mentioned as a potential replacement. What do you think of that?
I'm a good friend with Congressman Meadows. I like him. I think he supports the president's agenda. I don't know if he's interested or who it's going to be. But what I would say that the president really needs is he needs someone in that position who actually agrees with his instincts. One of the president's strongest instincts that he's had for a long time is that the Iraq war and regime change in the Middle East is a mistake. He's also said that we're spending so much money around the world that other countries need to take more care of themselves. He said that we've been in Afghanistan a long time and we really need to decide, do we still have a military mission there? These are the president's instincts that I very strongly support. He needs to find somebody to be chief of staff that's not trying to get in the way of his instincts, not trying to stymie his policy. He needs someone who actually will try to aid the president in getting his policy accomplished.
Senator Rand Paul, thank you very, very much.
Thank you.